Yo, 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 guys, what is going on? Kazano here, back at it again with another video. And today's video, a pretty simple topic here. Let's get it straight and simple to the point. I want to talk about how I think that we are okay to be losers, and I think we fail to accept to be a loser. Now, you might be thinking, whoa, that's a crazy statement to say, to be a loser? What? I don't want to be a loser? Like, yeah, no, I don't want to be a loser either, right? I don't like that terminology, right? That name is a very harsh thing to put on to someone to be like, oh, you're a fucking loser, bro. You suck. Like, that's a terrible thing to say. Like, you should not go out and call someone a loser. I'm not going to say that. But I guess more simply, what do I define as a loser? Usually, a lot of people would call a loser as someone who wastes their time, doing a hobby that they're not really interested in, or doing something that they're just not usually what they do, right? Whether that be like the sports guy knocking on the dweeb for reading like nerdy books, like, like The Hobbit, or like, the anime nerd who reads anime or talks about anime all day and brings action figures to school, stuff like that, right? Like those guys are typically called like geeks, dorks, or losers. And like the point is with all those kinds of terminologies and names, I think it's totally okay to be those kinds of things, right? Because I think the real thing behind this is about you being this quote unquote loser is like it's just in the eyes of that person, right? In the eyes of someone, I just think it's impossible in life to not be called a loser to someone, right? Unless you're like even like the rich are called losers, right? Like you could look at like some of the most successful people and they'll be like, oh, look how douchey and trashy they are with all their cool rich stuff. They're such a loser. Like even rich people are called losers and they have it all, right? They're living the life and people will still find a reason to call them out for something wrong, right? I just think it's ridiculous, right? And the real point I want to get at is that like recently I feel like I've seen a lot of like hate talk within my games, right? A lot of people talking trash, right? And there's some this fun banter, there's some banter controversy you have in gaming, right? I think that's just necessary, right? It's good to have a little trash talk here and there about the game. Sometimes I think it takes a little too far, right? We say a little too much to the person and it can really sting and get to some people, right? And I'm not gonna tell you to, oh, stop what you're doing, right? I mean, you do you, bro. Like, do whatever you want. But the real thing I want to talk about is like it's okay to be called these names or trash or whatever, because like in the end of the day, as long as you're happy and enjoying what you like, I think that they're just jealous, right? I think that's why like LARPing is a big thing these days, right? People LARP media because they want to fit in, right? They want to do what's cool now, right? Especially with a lot of the nerdier things, right? Like I think like anime and like nerdier video games and things have blown up because of COVID, right? COVID, like we were all forced to stay indoors. We were all forced to try to pick up something new, right? All these people who were constantly outdoorsy people, did sports, did all this, didn't really have access to those kinds of things, you had to look to other outlets, right? So, a lot of these more nerdier trends and hobbies blew up. So I don't think I think it's a less likely that you're called a nerd for these things these days. And like, back in the day where, I'm not going to say like I was like different, like, oh, I lived when it was harsh. Like, no, but like I was looked at weird at times, and I have been called a loser countless times for some of the things I liked and were into, right? Like, oh, you like that, or why is that your wallpaper? What is that, right? Like I had the cringy, Naruto wallpaper or whatever, that's like, in 240p, on your phone, or like, I had my favorite anime character on my phone lock screen, I've had some cringy wallpapers in the past, I won't lie. I think my wallpaper right now is anime, actually. Yeah, I might put it up on screen, I might not, but if I don't, it's just it's Full Metal Alchemist Brothers. It's Ed and Al. And that's nerdy and stuff, and I might get clowned for that, but depending on the setting I'm in, someone might call me, hey, you're a loser for having that profile or having that wallpaper, bro. What are you doing, right? But like to someone else, that might be the coolest thing ever and sick. And that's the point that I'm trying to get at here, that it's okay to be called a loser and it's okay to be shit on, because like at the end of the day, their opinion doesn't matter. And that's, I guess, the moral of the story, and the point I want to bring at is that like a lot of us in life are called losers and are trashed on. And for the longest time, I'm a big this is a big problem of mine, that I kind of just sit and like when someone does something mean to me or bad, I kind of let it sting me and like let it get to me, right? Let it float in my mind for a little way too long than I should, right? But in reality, it doesn't matter, right? Like it's like a meaningless thing, especially if it's like a stranger, right? It's different when it's like someone who's super close to you. Like if it's like a super close friend of yours who's like, let's say, I don't know, a friend you've been friends with since like high school or whatever, right? And you've been friends for years, and you're talking and you're hanging out and like having a great time, and then out of nowhere he just starts trashing one of your favorite hobbies or trends, right? That might just suck, and right, and that person's probably not the greatest guy, but like it's okay if they call you a loser, because like they are the loser for calling you a loser, right? They're just lame for that, right? It's lame to just call someone a loser and hate on their hobbies, right? Because we're all different. We have all have so many different hobbies, right? We have so many different interests. Like me playing this game is probably so different from the game that, you know, Joe Schmo plays, right? Joe Schmo's probably on NBA 2K right now. Do you think Titanfall 2 and NBA 2K are similar in any way? Fuck no. These games are different in every ways. But I bet you're damn right somebody would call this game nerdy as hell and shit on me for it. Like, someone definitely would, right? And like, you know, someone playing the basketball game, you know, someone might make fun of him and like, oh, just go outside, go play the real sport, right? Like, you get what I mean? Like, there's just no winning in this world of like this back and forth arguing like who's better or who's right or this and that. And that's why I'm just saying, like, just accept being called a loser, right? Just accept the trash talk and just move on, right? Be the bigger person. I think a lot of us fail to just be the bigger person and fail to realize to be the bigger person and fail to accept that, like, hey, I might not be, you know, I might have lost the argument, but like, who cares if I lost an argument, or who cares what, you know, this person has to say about me, right? It doesn't matter. I love myself and my games, and I'm having a great time playing them. So just because you're gonna sit here and talk shit on them doesn't mean I'm gonna do anything about it. Like, right? I'm not gonna, like, I feel like I've seen that happen too many times with people, right? I've seen people literally switch up their entire like hobbies, interests, and like lifestyle because of getting trashed on too much, right? They got clowned on in school, they got made fun of, and they, you know, they're like, what? I'm not gonna play those games anymore. I'm growing up now. I'm becoming an adult, right? I got responsibilities and a life to live. I can't be a nerd anymore, Caleb. It's like, what? What do you mean you can't be a nerd, bro? You could be a nerd, bro. Who cares? Like, who actually cares? Like, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody, like, well, I guess people do give a fuck, right? Because they're talking shit on you. But like, in reality, like, them giving a fuck just means that they're just upset that you're winning, right? Just look at it that way, right? They're upset that you're winning and you're having a successfulness and enjoying your medium, but they're over here and, you know, not enjoying what they're liking, but, you know, just going through it because that's the social norm, right? The social norm is to be cool and to do this and that. And I just think that that's stupid to follow those and to like believe in like having to be like a trend follower, right? I think so many people these days are like trend followers and follow the trendiest thing, like the cool new sick trend, and rather than just being themselves, right? Like, we just aren't being ourselves, I guess, is the real moral of the story. Like, people aren't being themselves and actually trying to do them right? Do the right thing for them and do what they like, and rather trying to, like, I think that's a big thing, because like, I've said this before in another video. Like, a lot of times, like, I had a lot of friends growing up on Xbox 360, and some of them I'm still friends with today, but a lot of them I'm not, right? And like, the friends that I'm not friends with, you know, we just grew separate, right? You know, we had different interests, you know, we were at a different point in our lives back then, right? Some of us are more busy now, you know, probably have a full family. Some of us are more, you know, independent and free now, more free than ever, right? Like, there's different stages of our lives where we have different points where some of us are doing better, some of us are doing worse, right? It's just the duality of that. And I just think that, like, that's why in my head, oh god, oh, my Titan's going, oh, I killed the guy on top of his Titan, oh, bang, oh, well, hang on, I guess, I'm sorry, I got a little too into this Titan fight, but that's besides the point. The point really being is that, like, it doesn't actually matter whether, like, I might suck at this game, right? And these guys might all call me trash and a loser and like a fucking the worst player ever, a noob even, right? But like, why do I care? I'm having a blast going around shooting the NPCs, you know, getting blasted by lasers across the map, right? You know, it's just a cool, crazy, high action-packed version of Call of Duty in my head, like, right? It was made by a lot of the people that made the older Call of Duty games, so I kind of treat it that way. But I still love this game, and I think this game's awesome, and I have a lot of values to this game, and like, this game's not popular at all anymore, right? That's another thing, right? Like, I'm doing playing a very unpopular game at this point, you know. It's very highly regarded as one of the better games that's ever come out, right? I know a lot of people talk highly of this game, but like, nobody plays it anymore, right? Like, you can't, like, it takes a decent time to find matches, right? There's only like a few thousand people at most on the game at a time, right? It's not like Call of Duty. It's not like the Call of Duty ports that have I think they just said that the PlayStation ports have like 12 or 11 million, right? They sold 11 million copies, Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. And it's like, yeah, sure, there's so many people playing those games and sweating their ass off on those games and having a blast. But like, that's like the new trendy thing. And I don't care. I'm playing the game I like and the game I'm having fun with. I'm not gonna say I don't like those games. I do. But like, I'm just saying, I'm not gonna go out of my way to do what is like trendy, right? What's like the most popular. Like another good example would be I don't know any. There's not been really. I guess Marvel Rivals is a good example. Marvel Rivals was huge and big, and it's not the biggest game right now. But when it was like the biggest game at the time, I never played the game. I played the game maybe one time because my friends wanted me to, but I never got into Marvel Rivals, and I never cared to. It's just not my game. And like, you know, someone might call me a loser or call me weird for that, but it's just not my interest. So I'm not gonna waste my time getting into something that I don't like, and I'm not gonna just paint a picture of myself to, you know, fit other people's likings, right? And if my friends don't like that, I probably won't hang out with them and, you know, learn that those people aren't good people, right? If you can't understand that I have my own likes and interests and will call me a loser for that, I think that you should not be a person I should be around, right? And that's what this video is kind of getting at, right? Is to help you maybe realize you're in a bad friend group, or maybe just learn to accept being called bad, and like, you know, just accepted that this person is just either wrong or just hateful to be hateful, and like because of that, there's just that person, this is not worth talking to and not worth wasting your time on or dwelling over, because I've just done that way too much in my life, is dwelling over these things and hiding some of my interests and hobbies throughout life because I thought that like I needed to change to, you know, to fit everyone's wants and likes and needs, right? And to, you know, paint myself as a better person, right? To appease to everyone, right? And I think that's a big reason I'm so antisocial, right? Is I kind of shunned myself away from everything I liked and what I wanted to be as a person, because if I didn't, you know, people might look at me weird, right? I might get that weird reaction again, you know, that uncomfortable feeling of someone calling me a loser or calling me weird for what I like. Like, I guess loser's not even as bad as, like, being... Like, honestly, I think being called weird is worse than being called a loser. Because at least being called a loser, you just know that that person just doesn't like what you like. And it's just, I guess, just outright just a hater, right? That person's just hating. But someone calling you weird isn't necessarily hating on you. They just think what you're doing just isn't normal and just out of ordinary and like, what? Weird. Ugh. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I think being called either probably is worse. But like, still, being called either is just terrible. Like, you don't want to be called either of them. Let's be real. But like, the point is with this video, this is kind of a quick video. I just came right off the dome. I just think that like, it doesn't really matter if you are what people call you, and it doesn't really matter what people are saying to you, because like, I mean, like, it does matter what people are saying. You should listen to people. You should take criticism, right? There is good criticism feedback, right? Like, some people say things that they actually do mean and actually will help you better, right? If you're like if they're calling you a loser because, you know, you eat really bad, you sit at home all day, and you don't actually do anything productive in your life, yeah, that's probably bad, bro. You probably should look into fixing that. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you shouldn't, you know, solve those issues if that's something like that. If they're calling you a loser because you're into anime or something, like, God no, bro. Embrace your hobbies even more, you know? Like, next day, wear a full-on anime outfit the next day, right? They'll probably flame you more, but they'll be like, yeah, guess what? I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, what? They're gonna get more annoyed that you're still enjoying your hobby and doing the thing you like, rather than like, I guess, actually caring, I guess? I don't even know. Like, I don't even know what else they would do. They're just gonna get even more annoyed, right? Because it's like, what? This guy isn't, you know, this guy isn't actually listening to my, like, you know, my heart for words, right? They're actually following them. Because, like, yeah, bro, your words mean nothing, bro. They're meaningless words that are just trying to get, like, dig under my teeth. Because some people dislike that, right? Like, I will say it. Some people are just, and, like, you have to come to realize that some people will literally just always try to find a reason to argue, or always try to find a reason to bicker. And like, maybe they just like to rage bait or whatever it is, but some people are just like that. And in this game, we went 9 kills, 5 Titan kills. We were killing them Titans because they were in a Titan like the whole game, though. That team smoked us. But that's besides the point. But I think I kind of addressed the idea here that, like, it's okay to do what you like, guys. Go be cool. Go show it out. If someone calls you weird or a loser or whatever, just don't even look at them, bro. Don't even acknowledge them, bro. Just embrace what you like, because that person is just hating because what you're doing is cool and they're just not included or something like that. I don't know. They're just in a weird place in their head. They're in a low spot in their life is how I like to look at it, you know? They're not in the good spot in their life, so they're just struggling to realize that. So as always, guys, I hope you had a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. It was Kazano. Later.